Hey everyone, Rob here. Let's start with the nose cone and work our way back perhaps. As we run through the different systems on this car, the nose is a removable metal sheet aluminum structure. This supports the fiberglass nose, provides some protection to the front end of the car in case of an accident. It holds the battery. In this case, I use an AGM absorbent glass mat 12-volt battery made by the Odyssey company. These batteries are quite popular in the Formula Ford world, and this battery supports the whole car because these cars do not have alternators. Everything runs off the battery, and so I simply charge it up before a race weekend, and it has more than enough power to run everything, because quite honestly, the electrical system is almost non-existent. So why don't we follow some of the cables back here, and you can see the back side of my instrument panel. Now these three switches, the bottom switch is obviously a push button for the starter motor. The middle switch is the ignition. Down is off, up is on. I've used an aircraft locking toggle switch here so I don't accidentally bump it. The upper switch is for the rain light, which is a flashing red light that's required to be on during wet races, so my fellow competitors can see me through the spray. The instrument panel, on mine I have an electronic tach with an analog dial. That is electric. I have an oil temperature gauge and a voltmeter that are both electric. And I have, as so many racers do, the awesome AIM Solo 2 lap timer. This has its own battery and does not run off of the car battery. And apparently that needs charging. The water temperature gauge on the bottom left, oil pressure on the bottom right. They are mechanical gauges, no electricity required. And we have a yellow water pressure warning light and a red oil pressure warning light. So electrically speaking, that is the entire electrical system. One safety requirement for all race cars, let's just follow the some of the wiring harness and lines down the side pod here. One requirement for all vehicles is a master switch. This switch, which has to be accessible from outside the car to safety workers, is a master switch that when it is turned to the off position, everything in the vehicle stops, including the engine. All electrical systems are turned off for, again, safety reasons in the event of an accident. Really, the only electrical load other than the starter motor would be the ignition system. Now on mine, I am running the classic points and distributor system that the Ford engine came with. And that's all. A couple tiny digital gauges and an ignition coil. And that's why we can get away with having just a battery and no alternator required. It takes horsepower to drive an alternator, and it adds weight. So that's why nobody runs them. Okay, that's enough for the electrical system. I would say there's really nothing else to it. Just a bit of wiring behind the instrument panel. And, oh my, I forgot, but the flashing light reminded me. My car, I've chosen to hardwire the transponder into the battery, so there's never any issue of running out of power. So these transponders interact with the timing system at the racetrack and record our lap times down to 1/1000th of a second. And since I had the switch on, the transponder is flashing, indicating that it is powered up and working fine. Okay, that's it for electrical.